Hey, this is Jim Craddock. Today is Saturday, October 11th, 2025, and I'm guessing this may be my last update for Redacted Science. Uh, I'm not sure. To catch you up, I am documenting the redacted illness called terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major. I gave it to myself in 1995 and got myself right at 30 years of extra life. And it changes your fundamental physiology. I have documented that with a trip to the Cleveland Clinic, where they're using BBG, venous blood gas. They determined that basically I shouldn't be walking around, that my body is in some other physiological state where I am obtaining energy from some other method than is normal. I can tell you what that is, and I've written a book about it. Uh, but I encourage you to read it because what they've done is discovered something sometime in the 20th century, actually early in the 20th century originally, but they weren't really sure. And then they did more research after the Nuremberg rules were put in effect, which definitely violated those guidelines. And they determined what all the chemistry was that was involved in it. And it's fascinating and it's evolutional and it's something that people need to know. And so, my goal has been to document it and put it out there because there's nothing science can do for me. There's nothing medicine can do for me other than make it worse at this point because their system that they use is based on normal human physiology, and that is not me. Uh, all my cells are apoptotic, normal organ function is not present. Organs have been repurposed, and yet I'm still working just fine. Brain still works, quite aware. I've been through a lot physically and mentally. At this point, it's not as hard for me to walk as it's been at some points, but the hips, the joints of both hips are very poor, I should say. And when I you know, go to use my legs, for example, I often find myself lifting my leg to get in or out of bed or in or out of the car, just because overall they're weak for that type of emotion and still heavy. I'm basically at approximately my normal weight for the last 30 years. Your weight fluctuates during all this. I've been down to 140 and up to about 185. And that's probably, so you got about, what's that, about 15% on either side of your peg weight, which for me is about 154, I think, that you can vary with. And that's just electrolytes and fluids because early on in this condition, your body basically stops generating energy the same way it used to, and so it can no longer store energy the same way it used to, and so you don't get fat cells, and your fat cells don't grow, and things like that. You're storing energy through electrolytes, and it's honestly it's quite fascinating. It's all due to this coevolution between a fungus and humans. And I'm assuming other mammals, because other mammals have the same type of structures that we do. And these structures are required for this process that it puts you through over 30 years uh, to to take place. Anyway, my goal here today is really just to document kind of what's going on, probably since my last video, which I don't know, it's been a while, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Uh, and and catch you up. Early this year, let's say last year, my arms were affected, and I couldn't bend them. Eventually, that returned. That's addressed in my book, fungal-associated myopathic something or another fatness. Anyway, and then this year, early in the year, it hit my legs, and then uh, it hits your abdomen and intestines. And that's kind of like the last part of the fuel that it hasn't used up yet because everything else is apoptotic. And when I say apoptotic, what I mean is that the sodium potassium pump has been run in reverse due to gradients. And so ATP is generated, but the cell is shrunk. And then at some point, the cell is just there. It's just a membrane with a little fungus on the inside and salts, and it's just preserved. And So where are we right now? Well, uh, in July when I went to Cleveland Clinic, my bowels had kind of paused, let's call it. I thought they were stopped, but they had paused. I was having all types of muscle pains. Anytime I drank anything, I could feel it's the most, it would just take a few minutes to 20 minutes maybe, and I could feel the muscles tightening in my back, especially. Uh, it was very difficult to walk across the campus and things like that. When I returned, having survived the cabin pressure twice, I just decided, okay, I'm going to eat and pretty much drink whatever I want, although I laid off the alcohol until just a week or two ago. And uh, I went through a lot. Let's just say the digested portion of this is the most consistent thing that changes over the whole 30-year period. Your digestion changes all the time, which makes sense if you really think about it, that you're dealing with, okay, how do we get rid of electrolytes? And so you're talking about all the gradients and things like that in your body. And those can all be expressed over uh, your intestines and the various compartments within your body. Uh, but your intestines is the one thing you're always shoving more electrolytes into. So it definitely will be the most impacted. And so, I went through a lot with the digestion. I'm not going to go into that much detail for you, but it's difficult. And various pains and difficulty walking and the joint issues and every once in a while something really bizarre like a pain that is off the scale that lasts maybe 30 seconds or maybe 5 minutes or whatever as things transition further. But now we've gotten to a point that is pretty significant. I think I had a period. There's a in the article it talks about this period where as the colon fails, it goes through kind of 4 steps, and the first one is this kind of leaking or rupture at the bottom, and the colon twists one way. And so you kind of have this pain and difficulty and everything. And then it kind of slowly untwists and it gets back to this neutral position. And then it twists the other way. Okay. And then you have kind of these same type of things. And then it has this final thing where it just kind of goes back and then it's not working anymore. And I think we're in that 4 week period. If I had to say, we're in the last 10 days of it. Honestly, it could be the last 2 days of it. I don't know. What I can tell you is that things have changed a lot over the last month. Uh, Interestingly, physically, the only, the largest difference that I've noticed is that I've been a little tired kind of exhausted feeling during the middle of the day and sleepy, which is not me. If you'll watch some of my old videos, you'll see how I talk about I've got energy and not tired and everything. And uh, so I have had just this week, starting Thursday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I guess, just tired, sleepy. So today's Saturday. My son's in town. I'm enjoying that. It's Texas weekend. It would be great to watch the football game, but I'm stuck going to a wedding, so we'll not get to watch the Texas OU game. Uh, but and my sister's here in town, so that's good too. Basically my whole kind of immediate blood family is here in town, and that's all I could possibly want. And they don't know, exactly where we're at in this process. I have been very frank with them, to tell them, everything that's going on, and obviously, uh, you'd have to either have a lot of faith in me or be a little crazy to believe everything that I said. So I don't know exactly what their thoughts are, but I think it's pretty obvious that I've been going through a lot of physical changes, and that I came back from Cleveland Clinic with blood results that were bizarre, and just decided to end the medical pursuit at that point. Although I have had, I guess, a couple other things. But I guess I had one other test where it was overdue. Like they had booked it a long time ago, an EMG on my legs, which once again was normal, just like the previous one, which I knew it would be, and I told the guy at the time. So anyway, so we're at this slowdown period, and if I'm correct, based upon the forewarnings in the write-up, the article that I recently read, it did a lot of talking about, what this would appear like in somebody in modern day. And which is interesting to me, if you think about it. So why would they spend so much time talking about that? And I've talked about this on other videos and in the book and stuff like that. But they gave you everything you needed to know to replicate their treatment. And they told you as much as they could about what you would be going through afterwards. And There wasn't that much need for all that detail. And so to me, it was them leaving behind the recipe, essentially knowing that, nobody was going to have this knowledge in the future, because they were going to change the ICD for it, and it would be classified as something else, and therefore hidden, and therefore you wouldn't know that they had done these experiments, because you would now think it was some other condition when somebody showed up with these kind of final stage illnesses. So just like I said, everything appears normal right up until the very end, at least to a clinician. Now, the person knows that they're going through hell, and that nobody can explain what's going on, and that their joints hurt and their muscles have gone through hell, and their intestines have been racked with pain over the years, and they've had kidney pains and polyuria periods of time where they just lost 20 pounds in 10 days, and it was all fluid, but yet all the tests would come back normal. Uh, and so they knew by classifying it as this other thing, well, the only time you actually find this person is when they die, or when they're literally dying. Uh, and and so yeah, they figured that that was the best way to hide it. But in my case, I've documented it, written a book, put it out on IPFS, out on Nostr. I several times a week. I share, what I'm going through. I have linked, in my IPFS, there are links to my ChatGPT threads where I actually talk about a lot more that I just don't want people accidentally bumping into while I'm still walking around on the planet. Just because it's pretty intense, and would be embarrassing for those people involved in my life, and probably would have other people doubting my mental faculties. So uh it's still there. Please don't ever delete my ChatGPT stuff. uh but I've done the best I can to show that this is real, and what's going to go on in the next you know few days is that my stomach will stop pushing food out, and it talked in the article about how it's highly likely that the person might go like 4 days without having a bowel movement and show up at the emergency room, or trying to figure out what's going on, and they walk in and they never walk out. And I'm going to try to stay away from that. My goal is to be at home. All they can do there is things bad. Take blood. I have a very low blood volume. That would be a problem. Give me an IV. My veins won't hold the fluids. It'll go right to my lungs. That would be a very bad problem. The imaging is the only thing that they can do to help me document. And, I've tried to get as much imaging done as I can in this process to document it. So, I'm really not thinking that I want to involve anybody. I don't at this moment, other than like, my legs ache and my hips hurt and, all the normal stuff that I have to put up with all the time. I don't feel poor or ill, or, I've had a day or two in the last couple of weeks where, yeah, I had a little nausea, which is really weird for me at this part of the illness. But whatever that was has been conquered by the fungus, and so we're moving on to what's next. So in the end, what should happen is that my stomach will fill up, and I literally won't be able to eat anything else, and then that would cause basically uh, the the lining of my esophagus or somewhere area like that to rot through, and to your aorta, and then you pass away instantly. Now that's one scenario that was presented in the article. Another one was where it's talked about how after the stomach drops that you feel great and that you might go out on a hike, which I don't understand because your hips still hurt. Like, trust me, I don't want to go on a hike. So maybe this is at some earlier point, because I definitely had a lot of weird transitions that involved my stomach. And they said, you might go out on a hike and just take water, and then you'd have polyuria, and you'd die of a heat stroke. Well, yeah, I've been real careful not to get overheated, things like that. I definitely don't. My temperature is not controlled very well, so I end up changing clothes all day long. Just because if I get a little warm or a little hot, the only way I can change that is by putting on or taking off clothes or get in front of a fan or whatever. But I've still been doing normal stuff. I've got my Halloween blow ups out in the yard, and been meeting with contractors for a pool and everything. And this is uh, uh, better than not being here. I think that that's the key for people to realize is that, I was faced with a choice 30 years ago. Do I want to be here or do I not want to be here? And if I choose I'm going to be here, there was going to be some consequences. I've dealt with those consequences for 30 years. I have a son, I had a successful life. I don't think that I made any poor decisions right there. I think the poor decisions were made by the people who chose to redact science. And so I'm here to hopefully restore that. And that's what I'm working on doing. Uh, so if this is my last recording, which, today, if I had to assign odds on that, they would be greater than 50-50. Because I don't do like daily recordings or anything anymore. Uh, you know, it is what it is. Uh, I've tried to contribute as much as I can to science, and I have tried to make a difference for my family. And I'm a really opinionated guy, so outside of my immediate circle, uh, you can imagine if you have something that nobody else believes exists for 30 years, you either just completely forget it and decide to immerse yourself in a fantasy life, or you kind of learn that, hey, I know the truth and nobody else does, and uh, I've got to live with those consequences and pursue what my truth is. And so that's who I've been. And so, like online, you'll find if you go look at my Twitter account, I'm very opinionated. Laura Loomer can stick it. Uh, President Trump is a pedophile. Everybody honestly should be considered to be a pedophile in the US government at this point because they won't release the Epstein files. Uh, Israel is obviously controlling the US and most likely knocked off Charlie Kirk. And and they've committed genocide. We can just look at they said, we finished with the demo phase. Is what they called it, I think, of like they're doing a makeover on a house of Gaza. Uh, I mean, hey, I will be the first one to say that I think that there are a large portion of the Muslim population in the world who are misguided in thinking that their religion has to be the one everybody else has. No, that's not true about any religion. That's not true about being a Jewish or being a Christian or being Muslim. You need to stay in your own freaking lane. Uh, and culturally, yeah, I think the United States has probably sabotaged themselves by trying to be multicultural. That's not to say that we should be a white, Anglo-Saxon Christian uh, country. Only part of that would describe me. Uh, and so I don't think that that's necessary. I think what's necessary is that you teach your people morals and you punish the people who go against your teachings, and we've given up on that. I think that's a big problem, is that we don't punish people anymore. And you know there are cities where I wouldn't want to be in certain parts of that city, and uh, uh and and you look at China and you can realize that, hey, yeah, okay, they are very oppressive, okay, but at the same time they are creating the future. And the best we can say is, hey, we're trying to invent AI. If you look at the things that their country can achieve, you'll realize that we're doing something wrong over here. Now then, not to say that they're not doing something wrong either, okay? So maybe AI in the future will help us find some nice middle ground. I don't know. I do know that Bitcoin will be involved, and so, uh, buy some, buy 0.001 Bitcoin. And then the next time you can afford 0.001 Bitcoin, which right now would be like, I don't know, that's 1,000. So that's $110, you know. So if you can afford $110, buy the 0.001 Bitcoin. And then the next time buy 0.001 Bitcoin. And guess what? It's going to cost you $125. And then it's going to cost you $150. And you know what that means is that you are preserving the value of your wealth by putting them in there, because your dollars are becoming worth less. And they will. So uh, anyway, kind of a big brain dump here today, but uh, I've just been doing all the normal things I can. My life is a continuous effort to be as normal as possible, and it does restrict me. There are things I cannot do. There are things that uh, you know, I would not go to a football game. I can't walk up the stairs and down the stairs and all that stuff, and uh, uh, it would be too hard. But I can go out to karaoke and out to dinner and to Costco and muddle my way through it. So that's what I've been doing. And I'm still able to work. I can still generate better output at my job than everybody else. Hey, yeah, sorry guys. And I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm really good at it. I think that's, I don't know. Part of that is the advantage this condition gives you. You get more oxygenation to your brain, greater blood supply. There's just you're burning ketones. All of that makes your brain a much sharper tool. And I can tell you during early June when I went through whatever I was going through at that point for a couple weeks, I I could think on so many levels at the same time. It was ridiculous. So uh, anyway, I think people once they learn of this condition, I think some people will end up choosing it, and I think other people are going to study it, and I think they're going to study the things that I wrote about in my books, and maybe some of it's not, doesn't pan out, but I think a lot of it will, and so they're going to find that hey, there's this whole communication system within our body that nobody is aware of, with ligands and things, and that uh, you know. Uh, a fungus knows how to talk to all of that stuff. And so what can we do to talk to all of that stuff? Interestingly, I'd throw this as an aside. When I wrote my book, I decided I would invest, I was like, well, fungal research is going to be huge. So I did a little, time with AI and tried to find the best fungal uh, companies that I could find. And so I found two uh, that I put money in. One is Sedera Therapeutics, and that one is up 115% since I bought it. But get this, right before I bought it, it went from I want to say 20 to 30. So it went up 50% like the day before I bought it, or the week before I bought it. And I still bought it. And even since then, it's up 115%. So let's see if I look at it real quick. I'll take it right here. Oh yeah. So here, let's I wonder if I can click on this and show you advanced chart. Here we go. I'm just going to show this real quick. Oh, gosh, how do I share? Huh, interesting. Oh, there we go. All right, so here is your stock, and I bought, look, here it was. I could have got it at 20, but I ended up buying like, I don't know, right in here somewhere. Uh, and since then it's up like 115%. So, it would be up a ridiculous amount if I had got it at 20. Uh, but anyway, the other one was let's see. The other one is you're less likely to be aware of. Oh, wait, I didn't actually share that, did I? Hold on. Yeah, so here it was tootling along, and I could have got it at 20, and I ended up buying it right here because that's when I did my research. And and since then it's up to here. So and that's with the market cratering on Friday. So uh anyway, and the other one is DYI, I think. Yeah, Dyadic International. So this is a penny stock, basically. It's a dollar stock. And so I bought like so same time, so right in here. And immediately went down a little bit. And I was like, oh crap. And then it went way up here. And then I should have bought in because what they did right here was they did an at the money. They issued like 1 million new shares, and I should have just loaded up right there. Because look, you load up right there. Anytime they do an at the money, you should load up because what's going to happen is the price is going to come down, so they can do their new offering, and then the price is going to go back up. So you could have made, a lot of money right here, going from 76 cents to $1.30. I mean, that's huge, 60%. But anyway, we're back down here, kind of around where I bought now. Uh, that's fine. This is only like a $30 million company, so it's really small, not a lot of employees, obviously. It may not turn into anything, but honestly, the other one is already paying for it. So, it is what it is. Uh, so anything else I want to throw at you? Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll be under martial law within the next, several months. And yeah, I don't know what comes after that. I think that we'll probably have some type of a temporary reprieve where at least, according to the times in history when things like this go on, it gets really bad or it starts to get really bad, and they find a way to pull it together for a brief time, and then it really just kind of goes off the deep end. And so, like for my son's life, I think he's going to have a really hard life for the next, I don't know, 30 years, possibly. There's, AI is the one real big wild card in there, in Bitcoin. But if we abandon Israel like we should, and they've got nukes, who knows what happens, So I don't know. The world is kind of going up in flames at the moment, and I feel privileged, honestly, to have lived in the time that I did because I was born at the end of the Vietnam War, and I lived right up until all hell is going to break loose right here. So that was kind of like the golden period. I feel privileged. Uh, anyway, I don't have a lot else to say. Uh, I love my family. I hope that science finds something that I've done that is useful, and we'll see how these days go. Thanks. My name's Jim Craddock. You can check me out at jimcraddock.com or redactedscience.org, or my Substack, or you can find me on Twitter, or where I kind of am a little bit more honest with what's going on out on Nostr. Nostr is the future. Decentralized is the future. Everything will be decentralized. And if you run into hard times, there's this app called BitChat, BITCHAT, that you can download, and you will be able to communicate with people in your area, and nobody will be able to stop you. And That's what decentralization brings. It brings independence, it brings freedom, and we need a decentralized money system, monetary system. We need a decentralized system of medicine and science, and a decentralized uh, protocol for everything to run on. And so I think what you're looking at right here is a transition from, you know, Web 2 to I'm going to call it Web 4, honestly. I think that this next level of things is going to be incredible. So I'm sorry to miss it, honestly.